Greg, what are we doing here today?
Well, Ryan, we're at a golf course. We're playing golf.
So the camera's on. I meant, like, what are we doing this video for?
Oh, well, we're playing golf, and I was trying not to laugh at these guys shanking it in front of us, but yeah, no, sorry.
Greg, what's the new project?
So, yeah, no, we are starting a new podcast called Weekly Wildcard, and we're going to take a little bit of a different spin on it. Definitely going to be about business, definitely going to be about technology and whatnot with what we're doing at RoundTable.
Hey everybody, I want to take a second to apologize to you all. This is our first podcast and our first time using our new equipment. We were completely unaware that the noise canceling was not turned on, so the audio gets a little wonky while the card is in motion. We apologize and we'll make sure that in future episodes this is taken care of. Thank you very much. Now back to it.
We're going to bring other companies into it.
And other technology, other things that other companies are doing that we're friendly with, that we want to bring on, help expose them as well, get their name out there. But the other side to it is, as well, is we're going to have, a personal aspect to it as well. We're going to talk about our lives, we're going to talk about their lives as well. What do they do in their free time? We have one CEO that's going to be coming on that, does,
dirt bike racing in Colorado, which is pretty cool.
Oh, awesome.
But you know me, I'm a huge Porsche guy. You're a huge Jeep guy off-roading, and, we both love to race. So we'll talk about that as well, which we'll talk a little bit about Porsche today and what they did not too long ago, releasing to the world that they were going to go fully electric. And, we'll talk about how that blew up in a little bit with social media, and enough to where they actually backtracked and, changed their tune on really how and when they were going to do that.
Yeah. Now, you brought up cars, like, that's how me and you met, right?
Yeah.
Like, we met because both working at wrenching on cars in our spare time, and I think I knew you for 2 or 3 years before I even knew that you were into the finance and into technology.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until really you started really focusing on RoundTable that I knew any of that about you. Why don't you tell a little bit about what RoundTable is?
Yeah, to go back to when we first met, though, I had a lot going on in my life. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say turmoil, just there was a lot of things up in the air that I was dealing with. And I just needed to take a break from finance, being a CFO, working with companies, in a, controller CFO capacity, helping them with M&A and whatnot. And it was just burning me out with everything else going on. So yeah, I took a break. I just wanted to get into a shop, away from that life, and just work on cars, turning a wrench, building things, which was pretty cool at the time. But yeah, it was always, I was always going to have to get back to finance and accounting, because that's what, I knew would set me up with what I wanted to do. So yeah, I started RoundTable September of 2016 and haven't looked back since.
Yeah.
It was slow at first. I was still working on Jeeps and whatnot while I was doing that, but I took on a few small clients at the time. And then it grew into doing a lot of fundraising for startups and whatnot. And, getting into 2019, 2020, we were humming along and it was doing great. And then COVID hit. Predominantly I started this as a CFO consulting in 2016. And, at that time, Oracle was purchasing NetSuite. So we became a NetSuite partner as well. So there's a technology side and a CFO side that have grown into far more now, to where we just made the Inc. 5000 list this year. We just placed number 138, which is huge for us. And it just shows that what we're doing is we're going down the right path. We're doing the right thing. We're working with the customers that we want to work with, and just really having fun.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. All right, let's go hit a ball and we'll come back.
So, that's one of the things we're going to have to do is, so for those of you listening, if you hear a little noise, fortunately,
it's playing golf,
and it's gas-powered golf carts at this place. So, we're going to be waiting for a bit.
Oh, all right, cool.
So let's see. All right, one of the other things you brought up was Porsche and the EV. What's that all about? Because I know you're a big Porsche guy.
Yeah.
You got 3 Porsches now.
Yeah, I got 3 now. So it's huge. It was huge. It didn't really affect me, because I've always said I will never go electric. So what it did do is basically, I will never buy another Porsche again.
if they went fully electric. So,
And I'm assuming you weren't the only person that.
no, I was not the only person. I mean, there was, you know, hundreds of thousands of people that went on social media to say, I will never buy a Porsche again. I race gas powered for life, pretty much. And look, you know, electric cars have their place. It's just, I will never buy an electric vehicle that when I want to purchase a vehicle that now costs, you know, I just got my hands on a GT4 RS, you know, which you're paying $250,000 for.
Yeah.
If I'm paying $250,000 for a vehicle, I want the vehicle that I want.
Right.
So yeah, so when they basically came out and said, you know, all models except for the 911, which they did say the 911 would eventually go hybrid, which they did for the first time this year. And I think it's going to be a 2026 model, or it maybe came out this year, but I'm not a huge 911 guy. I mean, the 911 has its place. It's a very powerful car. I just ended up falling in love with the Caymans.
Yeah.
You know, mid-engine, you know, not as powerful as the 911, but it has a slight advantage on the track, you know, because it is mid-engine. It's got a center of gravity that's a little bit different than the 911, having a rear-mounted motor over the axle. So, you know, for me, it was, you know, and now I have a Cayenne as a daily driver as well, and I love the Cayenne. But yeah, so in 2023, I believe it was, they said, you know, by 2028 or 2030, I believe, was, you know, all models are going to be electric. And man, did they get a whopping from social media, to the point where Porsche responded and said, we made a mistake. We are sorry. We are going to listen to our clientele and roll back the adoption of fully electric vehicles, you know, to a certain date. I mean, they're still going forward with it, but like the Cayman now, the Boxer and Cayman are fully electric now, which now, you know, I will never buy another Cayman. So the GT4 RS is the last Porsche I will probably ever buy, because now I cannot get a Cayman in a gas-powered, you know, option. Now they may come back out with a, you know, special edition Cayman. You know, Rich, right now it's, you know, I have a 982, which technically is called a 718 model. But who knows, you know, 5-6 years down the road, they might decide we're losing market share, we're losing clientele to, you know, other brands. We're going to come back with a gas motor.
Now, do you feel they made this because they don't really understand their own audience anymore, or is it more, do they feel pressure from governments about going green?
Yeah, it's not so much the clientele. I mean, the clientele obviously want gas motor cars, but look, as we go forward in the future with all these, you know, regulations on emissions and things like that, it's very hard for manufacturers to adhere to those.
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard for them to say we have a gas powered car that's naturally aspirated that meets emissions. It was very hard for them to get the GT4 RS to meet emissions, you know, standards for 2025. You know, so it's really coming down to they're having to spend so much money in R&D to try and find ways to meet these emission standards that it's just getting to the point where it's probably the ROI isn't worth it. Yeah. Now, what Porsche did it as an alternative was, I mean, they've been doing this for, I think, close to a decade now, is they've been working on an alternative fuel to help meet emissions as well, which is in the racing series. And they've had great success for that with that fuel. So I don't know if it'll come out as an option for the general public, which probably not. I don't think Porsche has any desire to get into the fuel market. Yeah. You know, I think they'll, you know, Porsche's lifeblood is racing.
Yeah.
You know, if you go back to Ferdinand Porsche, it was racing. You know, it was compete with Ferrari in a race car. And they've been very successful with that, so.
Talk to me about golf. You've been into it for a little bit, but really started kind of focusing on the last, like, year and a half.
Yeah, so I started golf with an old friend of mine back in 2009, 2010, I think, around there, just for the heck of it. I had bought clubs for $30 off his dad, old set of clubs. I still have them. They're in my basement. It's awesome. And I would just get out there and swing and whatever. You know, I think at that time I was probably shooting 150, 160 probably, which was absolutely bonkers.
All right.
But yeah, so since I met you, Andrew, and some other people that play golf, we're all super competitive. So it's gotten me to a point where I want to do better. So for the last 2-3 years, I've been focusing, not tremendously, but focused on getting better.
Yeah.
To where I think when we first started playing, I was shooting somewhere like 120, 130. Took some lessons, got better with short game. Horrible with my driver still, but I have this 3-wood now that I absolutely connect with sometimes, that it serves as my driver now. So, now this year was the first time I broke 90, and I broke 100, I think 2 or 3 times this year too.
Nice.
So, but predominantly when I go out, I'm somewhere between now consistently 100, 110.
Yeah. All right. No, I mean, it's respectable.
Yeah.
I just started last year when it was our friend's bachelor party. And, I always said, like, golf's for losers. And then I realized it's actually really hard. I was like, I have to be the best. I have to be the best. I get it. And it can be so frustrating, but then once you do good, it's just so nice.
Yeah.
And that's why you keep coming back, right? Like, I've gone out and shot, in the 80s, and then the next day, 110. And I can't figure it out. I'm being told, extremely new to the sport, so.
Yeah, it's an extremely technical sport that will mentally destroy you.
Yep.
If you try too hard and you're not good at it, you see these people on the course, they're like, there's YouTube videos of guys just breaking their clubs over their knee, throwing them in the woods.
I've wanted to do that many times.
Yeah. So where, if you understand you're not good, you're not going to join any tournament, and it's sort of, you're not in this position to say, I need to shoot in the 80s every single time. Look, tour pros have, bad days too. I mean, there's times where, Tiger Woods, Daly, the people have shot bad rounds.
Yeah.
It is a hard sport, to your point. It's technical, hard. You have to learn what each club is for, distances. I mean, there's a lot of engineering in this sport. Lofts, air speed, density. Once you figure that out, when you're watching sport, you don't realize how technical these guys, when they're talking to their caddy, what they're actually talking about.
You know me, when I get into something, I really go down a rabbit hole on YouTube, right? And like watching like all the golf YouTubers, and I came across Phil Nicholson, who's obviously a pro as well. But when he was talking about how he plays depends on what time of day it is and the humidity and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting there, I was like, how does the air temperature, can it really affect a ball that much?
Yeah.
And to me, it doesn't. I'm not good enough. But to a real pro, like, it's funny, like all those very slight, subtle things do matter when they're choosing their distance.
Yeah. It's distance, it's, the ball. I mean, it is you got to think of the ball from an engineering standpoint. What is a ball made out of? Predominantly, a lot of the balls today are made out of urethane. It's a soft material in certain weathers. It's obviously solidified. It has a hard shell on the outside. But if you watch somebody hitting a golf ball in slow-mo, that ball distorts so much, especially on a drive, to where, moisture, wind speed, density will have an effect on its distance, its spin, to where these tour pros understand that.
Yeah.
Look, when you're a tour pro, even if you're at the bottom of the FedEx rankings, you're still probably making a few $1 million a year, to where this is your full-time job. And if you want to get better, you better start learning everything about the sport you possibly can. All right, let's see if we can hit the fairway.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Porsche. We talked a little bit about golf.
Well, let's stay on golf for a second, because one thing that we didn't really talk about is, the reason we play golf now. One of the reasons we play golf now is, and I have an article coming out soon in Inc. magazine for this, is, golf, the reason I focus on it now is not just for the heck of it to go out and play 18 holes with my friends and screw around and whatnot. It's, with how busy I am with RoundTable and, the 4 other companies that I own.
And 2 daughters.
Yeah, and a wonderful, loving wife who, I get to go do this stuff, and 2 beautiful daughters is, health-wise as well, is, mental health. This is a mental game, and when I come out and play golf, it's a chance for me to, for the next 4 hours or whatever, if we're playing 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, to just forget everything about business. I clear my head. I don't answer emails when I'm on the course. I don't answer Slack messages. I don't do anything business while I'm on the course. And that's huge, mainly because, that gives me the opportunity to just step away for a little bit. Just step away, take a mental breather, and focus on just myself.
Yeah.
My step counts, getting in some steps, getting in some exercise. And it just so happens, I'm trying to get better at golf too. So, so it's an opportunity where, I would tell every founder, find something that you can just step away from business for a day, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever, and just get the business out of your mind. Because this idea, from 20 years ago, that startup founders, what everybody would call the grind is your goal. It's not your goal, because I know 1,000 founders that burned themselves out before they even got funding. And, they are back in a corporate job now.
Yeah.
So,
They
I think
mentally burned themselves out.
Yeah, mentally burnt themselves out, thinking that, they had to work 90, 120 hours a week to run the company, get funding, get the idea across, to where today, technology is your friend. It's also your downfall. So, there's obviously startups around now that are having tremendous success with 3 or 5 people.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it more and more. We're doing it with our startup right now, to where we have a max of 10 people. And lean startups is probably where it's going to go, because VCs are getting a lot more return on value with less headcount. So it's got its pros and cons. But I think, look, at the end of the day, if you're going to be a founder, you're going to be a small business owner in this country, in this world right now, you still need to step away and have mental, a mental break.
Okay. You can tee
Cool,
off.
let's tee it off. Wherever my tee is.
There's a few hundred on the ground.
Yeah, oh, here we go, I got it. And let's not pop it up like I did last time.
And you didn't.
There we go, right down the middle.
Best drive of the day so far.
Oh, she bounced right though. She's on the cart path. I'll take it though.
All right.
Playable.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah. Here we are.
We've got to practice on our chipping. We realized we got to practice on our chipping
Yeah, when it's on like a slope.
and our putting.
Yeah.
And our irons. And then if we get all that together, the only thing we have to focus on is the drivers. We have to work on everything, Greg.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just mentioned everything.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
All right.
moving on.
Well, this is the hole that we usually find balls on. So
This is.
You know.
But we already been on this hole today.
I did. Yes. So
I think you got them all. You might be able to find one of yours from the other hole.
Oh yeah, that's right. That did. That went way over to the right.
But let's talk about. I don't know. What do we want to talk about? What should the Wildcard be today?
So, yeah, there's a hot topic right now.
Okay.
Trading on headlines.
What does that mean?
So, and there's so everybody's going to jump on the American Eagle marketing campaign with Sydney Sweeney right now.
Yep.
And that's not even the topic. Like, that's not the topic.
Okay.
The topic is, after that happened, American Eagle stock, I off the top of my head, I think it either topped 1 or 2 billion valuation, which clearly tells you people were trading on the headlines that, Sydney Sweeney's in this campaign, there's a conspiracy theory, whatever it may be. People are, thinking they're going to capitalize on that and throw, 5-10 grand into the stock and it's going to go up, 80-90%. And
Well, I mean, even if like 5 or 10,000 people have Robinhood and they put $5-10 into
True.
it, right? Like, that's the thing is nowadays it's so easy.
Yeah.
I know my wife, for instance, I mean, half of the stocks that she has, it's stuff that she literally hurts. I think she has Brilliant Earth, Netflix, like whatever she hears in the news. I know she opens up Robinhood and she puts like a few $100 in.
yeah, no, you can't do that
Correct.
because by the time, think about it this way. This is not 1990. You don't put a stock buy through on a pink slip, at the, New York office anymore. You have all of these computer algorithms that are used by the institutional traders. Think of JP Morgan, Charles Schwab, Goldman Sachs. These massive billion-dollar companies have poured money into the R&D to create these algorithms and these computer programs that trade within milliseconds. And you're never going to beat them anymore. It's the idea of making a trade today and then a week later capitalizing on it, 50-60% is not going to happen anymore. So these people trading on headlines are, they're wasting their time unless you get in before it's even out, which, at that point is insider trading.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat a computer program anymore. So save your money, stop trading on headlines. You mentioned GameStop. GameStop 2 years ago was totally different. That was trading on headlines, but it also ended up having a following behind it on Reddit.
It still does.
It still does. Their stock keeps going, it's a wave. But what you see today, it going up and then coming down, up
Right.
and down, it's a wave. It's because emotions get involved in it. Computer program doesn't have emotions. You tell the algorithm, I want to sell at this price, I want to buy at this price. It's just going to do it. It's going to execute it without emotions. So, that's the
And quickly.
moral of this story is, you're trading on headlines based on emotion. And predominantly, when people trade on emotion, you lose money. So I definitely would say stop trading headlines. You're better off buying and holding for the long term. And that's, quite honestly, that is the idea of stocks, is buy and hold. That's why we have blue chip stocks. That's predominantly what they're for, is you buy them, hold them, and your idea is holding them 10, 20, 30 years to appreciate. And that is, look at the boomers. That's what they did.
Yeah.
They held on to their stocks and now they have multi-million-dollar portfolios that they live off of. So that's sort of the moral of the story is, buy it to hold it. Don't buy it to think you're going to capitalize quickly.
All right. Awesome. I think it's solid advice.
Yeah.
So like crypto, is that a headline or is that a whole nother discussion for another day?
That's a totally different discussion because that's a totally different technology, which has its, pros and cons too. There's no regulation on it really. So, it's definitely a different discussion.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, we're on hole 18, coming to the end of the day. So what can we expect coming up with this podcast?
So we can expect a whole bunch of people. So I think the first few podcasts we definitely have somebody coming in from financial services. We have somebody coming in from another technology company utilizing AI. So look, the next few episodes, we're gonna have a mix. I think we have a break between guests to where we'll probably record one or two ourselves as well on various topics that people are asking us for. And that's the other thing is we're gonna have, people responding to our social media asking for certain topics, and we would definitely implore that. So one thing we're doing with this podcast that we do with RoundTable as well is give us topics. Give us the topics that you want to hear about, and we will fit it into podcasts coming up if we can. the thing with the podcast is, I mean, we have about a month of schedule already set.
Yeah.
So it may, if we get topics, it may be a month or so a little bit later from individuals hearing about it. But what we will do is we will respond to individuals on our social media and say, hey, great topic. We will include this. It'll be on this episode.
Okay.
But we have some good guests on, the next few episodes. We have a great guest, Jessica Smith, coming up. Owns a recruiting firm up in Canada. We have a couple people here in the States that are utilizing AI, developing their own technologies that I think will be interesting as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. So you guys heard it. Do you have anything? Write in the comments or send us a message or an email saying, you have a topic that you'd like to hear more about, or even, if you have somebody that you want to hear, talk their mind. That'd be great too. All right.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Good
Awesome.
first podcast.
Yeah, great weekly Wildcard. Come for the next episodes, and like Ryan said, bring us your topics and individuals that you'd like to hear from.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Greg.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
All right.